The morning sun painted the crystal forest of Redania in shades of purple and gold. Jiwoo walked carefully through the dense vegetation, her collection kit hanging from her shoulder. She had been working at the research outpost for 6 months now, studying the soil and plants of this strange new world. Every day brought something new, something wonderful to discover. The crystals that grew from the ground hummed softly as she passed. They were unlike anything found on Earth. Some were as tall as trees, others barely reached her knees. When the wind blew through them, they sang. Jiwoo loved that sound. It reminded her that she was far from home, exploring places no human had ever seen before. She knelt down near a cluster of blue crystals and began taking samples. The soil here was rich with minerals that glowed faintly in the shadows. Back at the outpost, Dae-hyun would analyze everything she brought back. He was a commander of their small research station, a serious man who lived by the rules. Jiwoo respected him, but sometimes she wished he would relax a little. A strange sound made her stop. It was not the usual hum of the crystals or the chirping of the small creatures that lived in the trees. This was different. It sounded like crying, like something small and scared. Jiwoo stood up and listened carefully. There was again a high-pitched chirping sound, desperate and afraid. She followed the noise deeper into the crystal forest, pushing past hanging vines that glowed with soft blue light. The sound grew louder. Then she saw it. A small creature was trapped beneath a fallen crystal formation. The crystal had cracked and collapsed, pinning the tiny thing underneath. Jiwoo's heart jumped in her chest. She had never seen anything like it before. It looked like a dragon from old Earth stories. It had scales that shimmered in the light, changing from green to silver to gold. Its wings were folded against its body, one of them torn and bleeding. The creature was no bigger than a large cat, with bright golden eyes that looked up at Jiwoo with pure terror. Protocol was clear. Any new life form had to be reported immediately. No exceptions. Dae-hyun had made that very clear during her training. But as Jiwoo looked at the injured creature, all she could think about was how scared it must be, how much pain it must be in. The hatchling chirped again, softer this time. It sounded like a plea. Jiwoo made her decision. She set down her collection kit and approached slowly, hands raised to show she meant no harm. The creature watched her with those bright golden eyes, its small body trembling. "It's okay," Jiwoo whispered, even though she knew it could not understand her words. "I'm going to help you." The crystal was heavy, but not too heavy. Jiwoo braced herself and lifted, pushing with all her strength. The crystal shifted. The hatchling chirped louder, excited or scared. Jiwoo could not tell. She pushed harder, and finally, the crystal rolled away. The little dragon scrambled backward, then stopped. It stared at Jiwoo. She stared back, hardly daring to breathe. This was a moment she would remember forever. First contact with a completely new species. A sentient creature that looked at her with clear intelligence in its eyes. Slowly, so slowly, the hatchling moved toward her. It limped, favoring its injured wing. Jiwoo stayed very still. The creature came closer, sniffing at her outstretched hand. Then, in a movement that surprised them both, it pressed its small head against her palm. Jiwoo felt something then, not just the warmth of the creature's scales or the softness of its skin. She felt something deeper, an emotion that was not her own. Fear, yes, but also relief. Gratitude. Hope. "You're hurt," Jiwoo said softly. She could see the torn wing membrane more clearly now. It was bleeding, but not badly. The creature chirped and nuzzled closer to her. It seemed to understand that she wanted to help. Jiwoo looked around. The forest was empty. No one from the outpost would come this far out for hours. She had time. But time for what? She should call this in. She should report the discovery immediately. This creature was important, scientifically important, but it was also small and scared and hurt, and it was looking at her with complete trust. Jiwoo took off her jacket and carefully wrapped it around the hatchling. The creature did not resist. Instead, it curled up in the fabric, making soft, contented sounds. Jiwoo picked it up gently and held it against her chest. The hatchling's heart beat fast against her hand. "I'll call you Hannah," Jiwoo whispered. The name meant flower in her grandmother's language. This little creature was beautiful and delicate, just like a flower. Hannah chirped softly, as if she approved. Getting back to the outpost without being seen was harder than Jiwoo expected. She had to avoid the main paths and stick to the areas where the crystal formations were thickest. Hannah stayed quiet in her jacket, seeming to understand that they needed to be careful. Jiwoo's private quarters were small, but comfortable. She sealed the door behind her and carefully unwrapped Hannah from the jacket. The hatchling looked around the room with wide, curious eyes. Then she looked back at Jiwoo and chirped. "I know," Jiwoo said. "This is crazy. I could lose my job for this. Dae-hyun would be so angry if he found out." But even as she said it, Jiwoo knew she had made the right choice. She could not have left Hannah there, injured and alone, and she could not turn the little creature over to the research team. Not yet. Not until she was healed. Jiwoo opened her emergency medical kit and began treating Hannah's wing. The hatchling held very still, though Jiwoo could tell it hurt. She cleaned the wound carefully and applied a synthetic skin patch that would help it heal faster. Hannah watched everything she did with intense focus. "You're a smart one, aren't you?" Jiwoo said with a smile. Hannah chirped and tilted her head, almost like she was answering. When the treatment was done, Jiwoo set up a comfortable bed for Hannah, using spare blankets. The hatchling circled 3 times before settling down, just like a cat. But she kept her eyes on Jiwoo, following her every movement. Jiwoo sat down on the floor next to the makeshift bed. Hannah immediately crawled into her lap, curling up against her stomach. The hatchling scales were warm, warmer than Jiwoo expected. She could feel Hannah's breathing slow down as the little creature relaxed. "What am I going to do with you?" Jiwoo whispered. Hannah made a soft, sleepy sound. Within minutes, she was asleep. Jiwoo sat there, afraid to move and wake her. Outside, she could hear the normal sounds of the research station. People walking by, conversations, the hum of machinery. Any one of them could knock on her door at any moment. Anyone could discover her secret. But for now, in this quiet moment, Jiwoo just looked at the small dragon sleeping in her lap. She thought about how scared Hannah had been, trapped under that crystal. She thought about the trust in those golden eyes. And she thought about how, for the first time since leaving Earth, she did not feel alone. Whatever happened next, Jiwoo knew one thing for certain. She would protect this little creature. She would keep Hannah safe, even if it cost her everything. Outside her window, the crystal forest sang their endless song. And in her lap, Hannah dreamed, her tiny claws twitching as she slept. This was only the beginning of their story. 3 days had passed since Jiwoo brought Hannah to her quarters. 3 days of sneaking food, hiding supplies, and lying to everyone at the research station. Jiwoo had never been good at lying, but fear made her creative. Fear for Hannah's safety made her brave. Hannah's wing was healing well. The synthetic skin patch had done its job, and the little dragon could now fold and unfold her wing without pain. She was growing too. Not much, but enough that Jiwoo noticed. Hannah was now the size of a medium dog, and her appetite had doubled. The hatchling followed Jiwoo everywhere inside the small quarters. When Jiwoo sat at her desk to work, Hannah curled up at her feet. When Jiwoo ate, Hannah sat beside her, watching with those curious golden eyes. At night, Hannah slept on the bed, her warm body pressed against Jiwoo's side. But it was more than just companionship. Something strange was happening between them. Jiwoo could feel Hannah's emotions now, clear as her own. When Hannah was happy, Jiwoo felt warmth spreading through her chest. When Hannah was nervous, Jiwoo's stomach tightened. It was like they were connected somehow, in a way that science could not easily explain. Hannah seemed to understand human speech too. Not the words exactly, but the meaning behind them. When Jiwoo said, "Stay quiet," Hannah would remain silent. When Jiwoo said, "Hide," Hannah would slip under the bed without hesitation. The dragon was smart. Too smart for something so young. On the morning of the 4th day, everything changed. Jiwoo was getting ready to leave her quarters for her daily work when someone knocked on the door. She froze. Hannah, who had been playing with a spare piece of fabric, immediately went still. "Jiwoo, you in there?" The voice belonged to Taeyong, one of the engineers. He was close to Jiwoo's age and had become a friend over the past few months. A good friend. Jiwoo looked at Hannah. The dragon looked back at her with worried eyes. There was no time to hide her properly. Just a minute. Jiwoo called out. She pointed to the bathroom. Go. Now. Hannah understood. She scurried into the bathroom, and Jiwoo closed the door behind her. Then she took a deep breath and opened the main door. Taeyong stood there with his usual friendly smile. He was holding a data pad and looked tired. Hey, sorry to bother you so early. I need your signature on some equipment requisitions. Oh, sure. Jiwoo tried to sound normal. She took the data pad and signed quickly. Taeyong did not leave. He looked past her into the room. You okay? You've been acting kind of strange lately. I'm fine, Jiwoo said too quickly, just busy with research. From the bathroom came a soft chirping sound. Hannah had made a noise. Taeyong's eyes widened. What was that? Nothing. Just my computer. It makes weird sounds sometimes. Jiwoo felt her face getting hot. She was a terrible liar. Taeyong looked at her for a long moment. Then he gently pushed past her into the room. Jiwoo, what's going on? Before she could stop him, he opened the bathroom door. Hannah sat in the middle of the floor, looking up at him with innocent eyes. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Is that? Taeyong's voice trailed off. Is that a dragon? Jiwoo's heart sank. She had been caught. Everything was over now. Taeyong would report her. Daehyun would take Hannah away. They would study her, experiment on her, maybe even hurt her. Please, Jiwoo said, and her voice broke. Please don't tell anyone. She was hurt. I found her in the forest, and she was hurt, and I couldn't just leave her there. Taeyong stared at Hannah. The dragon chirped softly and tilted her head. Then she walked over to Jiwoo and pressed against her leg, as if offering comfort. How long have you had her? Taeyong asked quietly. For days. For days. Taeyong ran his hand through his hair. Jiwoo, do you know how much trouble you could be in? This is a major protocol violation. If Daehyun finds out... I know. Jiwoo felt tears burning in her eyes. I know it was stupid. I know I broke the rules. But look at her, Taeyong. Really look at her. She's not just some animal. She's intelligent. She understands us. And she was alone and scared, and I just couldn't. Hannah made a soft, sad sound. She could feel Jiwoo's distress. Taeyong knelt down and looked at Hannah closely. The dragon watched him carefully, but did not move away. She's beautiful, he said softly. I've never seen anything like her. Will you report me? Jiwoo asked, her voice barely a whisper. Taeyong was quiet for a long time. He reached out slowly, letting Hannah sniff his hand. The dragon considered for a moment, then gently touched her nose to his palm. A smile spread across Taeyong's face. No, he said finally, I won't report you. But Jiwoo, you can't keep this secret forever. Eventually someone will find out. I know. I need more time. Until she's fully healed. Until I can figure out what to do. What you need is help. Taeyong stood up. You can't do this alone. You need supplies, proper food for her, medical equipment. Let me help you. Jiwoo felt a wave of relief, so strong her knees almost buckled. Really? You do that? What are friends for? Taeyong grinned. Besides, I've always wanted to meet a dragon. Over the next few days, having Taeyong's help made everything easier. He brought proper nutrition, supplements that helped Hannah grow stronger. He helped Jiwoo create a better hiding system in case someone else came to her quarters. He even built a small scanner that could detect when people were approaching, giving them warning time. But more importantly, Taeyong spent time with Hannah. He talked to her, played with her, and helped Jiwoo understand her better. The dragon seemed to like him, though she still preferred Jiwoo above everyone else. One evening, as they watched Hannah practice flying in short bursts around the room, Taeyong said something that changed everything. I think you should talk to Su-min. Su-min was the medical officer at the station. She was older than both of them, serious and professional. Jiwoo shook her head immediately. No way. She'd report us for sure. I don't think so, Taeyong said. Su-min is different. She cares about life. All life. Before she came here, she worked at an animal sanctuary on Earth. She saved injured creatures that everyone else wanted to put down. That's different. Those were Earth animals. Maybe, but I think she'd understand. And Ji-woo, Hannah needs proper medical care. That wing is healing. But what if there are other problems we can't see? What if she gets sick? I'm just an engineer. You're a soil scientist. We're doing our best, but we're not doctors. Ji-woo knew he was right. She had been worried about the same things. What if Hannah got seriously ill? What if something went wrong? Okay, she said finally, but we need to be careful about how we approach her. The next day, Taeyong arranged for Soo-min to come to Ji-woo's quarters. He told her it was important, but did not explain why. When the medical officer arrived, she looked confused and a little annoyed. This better be good, Soo-min said. I have 3 health checks scheduled this afternoon. Ji-woo and Taeyong exchanged glances. Then Ji-woo made her decision. She opened the bathroom door. Hannah, come here, girl. The dragon walked out, her scales shimmering in the light. She looked at Soo-min with calm, intelligent eyes. Soo-min's mouth fell open. For several seconds, she just stared. Then she looked at Ji-woo. How long? A week. A week. Soo-min moved closer to Hannah, her medical instincts taking over. May I examine her? Hannah looked at Ji-woo. Ji-woo nodded. It's okay. She wants to help. The dragon allowed Soo-min to check her wing, listen to her heartbeat, and look at her eyes and teeth. The medical officer worked in silence, her face unreadable. When she was done, she stood up and looked at both Ji-woo and Taeyong. You've been taking good care of her, Soo-min said, but she needs better nutrition. Her bone density is lower than it should be, and that wing needs proper monitoring. Ji-woo felt hope rising in her chest. Does that mean? It means, Soo-min said with a small smile, that I'm going to help you keep this beautiful creature healthy. But we need to be smart about this. Very smart. Hannah chirped happily and nuzzled against Ji-woo's hand. For the first time since finding the little dragon, Ji-woo felt like maybe, just maybe, everything might work out after all. She was wrong, of course, but she did not know that yet. The alarms woke everyone at 3 a.m. Ji-woo sat up in bed, her heart pounding. Hannah, who had been sleeping beside her, jumped to her feet with a frightened chirp. The dragon scales were standing on end, making her look twice her normal size. Attention all personnel. Dae-hyun's voice came through the station speakers. We have detected multiple large life forms approaching from the northwest. All staff report to the main hall immediately. This is not a drill. Ji-woo grabbed her jacket and looked at Hannah. The dragon was trembling, but not from fear. It was something else. Something Ji-woo could feel through their bond. Recognition, longing, sadness. What is it, girl? Ji-woo whispered. What's out there? Hannah made a low, mournful sound that Ji-woo had never heard before. It sounded like crying. Ji-woo wanted to stay and comfort her, but she had to go to the meeting. If she did not show up, people would ask questions. Stay here, she told Hannah firmly. Hide under the bed and don't make any noise. I'll be back soon. The main hall was crowded with the station's 32 staff members. Everyone looked worried and confused. Dae-hyun stood at the front with Eun-bai, the security officer. Behind them, a large screen showed thermal images from the station sensors. What we're seeing, Dae-hyun said, his voice tense, are at least 15 large creatures moving toward our location. They're the same species as the one we detected last week. He paused. They appear to be dragons. The room erupted in nervous chatter. Ji-woo's blood ran cold. Dragons. Multiple dragons. And they were coming here. Eun-bai held up her hand for silence. We don't know if they're aggressive, but we need to be prepared. I'm implementing Security Protocol 5. All non-essential personnel stay inside. All exterior doors sealed. Have they attacked anyone? Someone asked. No, Eun-bai said, but they're getting closer. We need to understand what they want. Ji-woo felt sick. She knew what they wanted. They were looking for Hannah. They had to be. The little dragon was not abandoned. She had a family, and they had come to find her. Taeyong caught Ji-woo's eye from across the room. He looked as worried as she felt. Soo-min stood near the back, her expression unreadable. Before anyone could say more, new alarms blared. The screen showed the dragons were now at the station's perimeter. They had arrived faster than expected. "They're here," Unbai said, her hand moving to her weapon. "Everyone stay calm." Through the windows, Ji-Woo could see shapes moving in the darkness. Large shapes with wings. The exterior lights flickered on, and suddenly everyone could see them clearly. Dragons. Real dragons. They were enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest earth animals. Their scales gleamed in shades of green, blue, and silver. They circled the station, their wings creating powerful gusts of wind. But they did not attack. They just flew in circles, as if searching for something. "What are they doing?" Dae-hyun whispered. Ji-Woo knew. She could feel it. They were calling out, looking for one of their own, looking for Hannah. In her quarters, Hannah would be hearing them, feeling them. Ji-Woo's chest tightened with emotion that was not entirely her own. Hannah wanted to go to them. She wanted to answer their call. "I need to send a message to headquarters," Dae-hyun said. "We need military support." "No." The word came out before Ji-Woo could stop herself. Everyone turned to look at her. "Excuse me?" Dae-hyun's eyes narrowed. Ji-Woo's mind raced. She had to think of something. "I mean, maybe we should try to communicate first, before we bring weapons here. They haven't attacked us. Maybe they're just curious." Curious. Unbai shook her head. Those things could destroy the station in minutes if they wanted to. "But they haven't," Taeyong spoke up, supporting Ji-Woo. "That has to mean something." Dae-hyun looked between them, suspicious now. "What's going on?" "You two know something." Before Ji-Woo could answer, the station shook. One of the dragons had landed on the roof. The metal groaned under its weight. Everyone in the hall froze. Then they heard it, a sound like singing, deep and resonant and impossibly beautiful. The dragon on the roof was calling out, and from somewhere in the station, a small voice answered back. "Hannah." The little dragon was crying out to her family. Dae-hyun's face went pale. That sound came from inside the station. He turned to Unbai. "Search every room. Find out what's making that noise." "Wait." Ji-Woo stepped forward. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "You don't need to search. I know what it is." The room went silent. Everyone stared at her. "Ji-Woo," Su-min said quietly. "Think carefully." But Ji-Woo had already decided. She could not hide anymore. Not when Hannah's family was here. Not when the truth was one search away from being discovered. 2 weeks ago, Ji-Woo said, "I found an injured dragon hatchling in the crystal forest. She was trapped and hurt. I brought her back here. I've been taking care of her." The silence that followed was deafening. Dae-hyun's face turned red. "You what?" "She was dying," Ji-Woo said, her voice stronger now. "I couldn't leave her there, and I couldn't report her, because I knew what would happen. She would become a specimen, a thing to study. But she's not a thing. She's intelligent. She's kind. She's—" "You violated protocol," Dae-hyun shouted. "You brought an unknown life form into the station without authorization. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I saved a life," Ji-Woo said quietly. Outside, the dragons cried out again. The one on the roof answered. The building shook. "They're here for her," Taeyong said. "They're looking for the hatchling." Unbai gripped her weapon tighter. "If those things try to break in here—" "Don't shoot them," Ji-Woo pleaded. "Please. They're not trying to hurt us. They're just trying to find their family member." "Family member?" Dae-hyun looked at her like she was crazy. "They're animals." "No," Su-min spoke up now. "They're not. I've been observing the hatchling for the past week. She's far too intelligent to be just an animal. She understands language. She shows complex emotions. She forms bonds." The medical officer looked at Ji-Woo. Strong bonds. Another dragon landed near the station. Then another. They were surrounding the building now, but still not attacking, just calling out, waiting. "This is insane," Dae-hyun said. But Ji-Woo could see the uncertainty in his eyes. He was starting to understand. "Let me bring her out," Ji-Woo said. "Let me show them that she's okay. Maybe then they'll leave peacefully. Or maybe they'll attack the moment they see her," Unbai countered. "Or maybe they'll be grateful." Taeyong said. Maybe they'll see that we helped her. Daehyun rubbed his face with both hands. He looked exhausted. This is the most ridiculous situation I've ever been in. He looked at Ji-woo. Go get the creature. Bring her to the main airlock. But if anything goes wrong, if they show any sign of aggression, we seal everything up and call for military support. Understood. Ji-woo nodded and ran. She could feel Hannah's emotions getting stronger as she got closer to her quarters. The little dragon was pressed against the door when Ji-woo opened it, desperate to get out. I know, baby. Ji-woo said softly. I know you want to see them. Come on. Hannah followed her through the corridors. The dragon moved quickly now, almost running. She could sense her family nearby. When they reached the main hall, everyone stepped back. Some people gasped. Hannah was bigger than they expected, and her scales glowed with an inner light. The dragon went straight to the main window and pressed against it. Outside, the adult dragons saw her. Their calls became louder, more urgent. Hannah answered back, her voice high and desperate. They're talking to each other, Su-min said in amazement. Listen, it's actual communication. Ji-woo could feel it through her bond with Hannah. The dragons were asking if she was okay, if she was hurt, if the humans had harmed her, and Hannah was telling them no. She was safe. She was cared for. She was loved. One of the largest dragons landed directly in front of the main window. It was magnificent, with scales the color of emeralds and eyes like liquid gold, just like Hannah's eyes. That's her mother, Ji-woo whispered. She did not know how she knew. She just did. The mother dragon looked at Hannah through the glass. Then, slowly, she looked at Ji-woo. Their eyes met, and in that moment, Ji-woo felt something incredible. Understanding, recognition, gratitude. The dragon knew. She knew that Ji-woo had saved her child. The next morning brought visitors that nobody expected. A military ship landed near the research station, carrying Captain Yoon and a security team. With them came a woman named Nari, who introduced herself as a xenoanthropologist, and a man in an expensive suit who said his name was June and that he represented biotech industries. Ji-woo did not like June from the moment she met him. His smile was too wide, too fake. His eyes looked at Hannah the way someone might look at a valuable piece of equipment. Fascinating, June said, walking around Hannah in a slow circle. The little dragon pressed closer to Ji-woo, uncomfortable with the stranger's attention. Absolutely fascinating. Do you have any idea how much a creature like this is worth? She's not for sale, Ji-woo said coldly. June laughed. Oh, I'm not trying to buy her. I'm here on behalf of the colonial administration. We need to study her. Her DNA, her cellular structure, her cognitive abilities. Dragons could revolutionize biotechnology. She's not a lab experiment, Taeyong said, standing beside Ji-woo. Captain Yoon stepped forward. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. The situation is more complicated than that. The adult dragons have not left. They're still circling the station. We need to understand what they want and whether they pose a threat to human colonies. Nari had been quiet until now, but she spoke up. With respect, Captain, I don't think they're a threat. I've been analyzing their behavior patterns since I arrived. They're protective, not aggressive. They're staying near the station because their young is here. Their young that the scientist illegally harbored, June said, pointing at Ji-woo, which, by the way, is a serious violation of colonial law. I saved her life, Ji-woo said, her voice shaking with anger. She would have died if I left her there. That doesn't give you the right to hide an unknown species from proper authorities, Captain Yoon said, though his tone was gentler than June's. However, what's done is done. Now we need to figure out what to do next. Daehyun, who had been standing to the side, finally spoke. I've been reviewing the sensor data from the past 2 weeks. The adult dragons have been searching this entire region. They've flown over 100 square kilometers, calling out, looking. They never attacked anything, never threatened anyone. They were just looking for her. He gestured to Hannah, who chirped softly. That suggests intelligence, Nari said excitedly. Coordinated search patterns, family bonds, communication. These aren't just animals. They're sentient beings. Sentient or not, June said, They're valuable, and the hatchling needs to be transferred to a proper research facility where... No, Ji-woo stepped in front of Hannah. You're not taking her anywhere. Miss Ji-woo, Captain Yoon said calmly, you don't have a choice in this matter. But before anyone could say more, the alarms went off again. Everyone rushed to the windows. The adult dragons were moving, not away from the station, but toward it, and they were not alone. What is that? Someone whispered. Among the adult dragons, being carried carefully between two of them, was another dragon. This one was larger than Hannah, but smaller than the adults, and it was clearly injured. Blood stained its silver scales, and one of its wings hung at an awkward angle. Hannah saw the injured dragon and cried out. She ran to the window, pressing her face against the glass. Through their bond, Ji-woo felt a surge of emotion. Love, fear, desperation. That's her mother, Su-min said quietly. The one we saw last night. She's hurt. The dragons landed near the station's main entrance. The injured mother dragon collapsed onto ground, breathing heavily. The others surrounded her protectively, but they kept looking at the station, looking at the windows where Hannah stood. They want help, Nari said, her voice filled with wonder. They're bringing their injured to us for help. That's impossible, June said. How would they even know we could help? Because of Hannah, Ji-woo said. She understood now. Her mother saw that I healed her. She knows we have medical abilities. She's asking us to help. Captain Yoon frowned. That would require a level of intelligence that we've been underestimating. Nari interrupted. Captain, if they can make that logical connection, if they can understand cause and effect like that, then they're not just sentient. They're sapient. They're people. People? June scoffed. They're dragons. So what? Taeyong said. Humans are just humans. That doesn't make us less than people. The injured mother dragon cried out, a sound of pure pain. Hannah answered back, her own cry desperate and pleading. She turned to Ji-woo, her golden eyes full of tears that dragons should not be able to cry. Ji-woo felt her heart break. She knew what Hannah was asking. She could feel it through their bond as clearly as words. Please help her. Please save my mother like you saved me. We have to help, Ji-woo said. Are you insane? June stared at her. That thing is the size of a transport vehicle. We don't have the equipment to treat something that large. Then we'll figure it out, Su-min said. The medical officer was already moving toward the medical bay. I'll need help, lots of help, and we'll need to bring her inside. Absolutely not, Captain Yoon said. We're not bringing a potentially dangerous creature into the station. She's dying, Ji-woo said quietly. Look at her. She's bleeding out. If we don't help, she'll die. And what do you think those other dragons will do then? Everyone looked outside. The adult dragons were watching the station intently, waiting. Their posture was tense. If the injured dragon died while they did nothing, Ji-woo had no doubt that the station would not survive the night. Captain Yoon saw it too. This is a terrible idea, he muttered. But then he nodded. All right, but we do this carefully. Unbai, have your team ready. If anything goes wrong, nothing will go wrong, Ji-woo said with more confidence than she felt. Opening the airlock was terrifying. The adult dragons could have rushed in, could have attacked, but they didn't. They stepped back, giving the human space. Two of them carefully lifted the injured mother dragon and carried her toward the entrance. It took everyone working together to get her inside. The dragon was heavy, and they had to widen the cargo bay doors to fit her through. But finally, she was in. Su-min immediately began examining her wounds. Looks like she fought something, the medical officer said. Deep cuts, infected, and this wing is badly broken. Hannah stayed close to her mother's head, making soft, comforting sounds. The mother dragon's breathing was shallow and pained. Ji-woo knelt beside Hannah and stroked her scales. We'll help her, she promised, just like I helped you. The mother dragon's eye opened. She looked at Ji-woo, and just like before, Ji-woo felt something pass between them. Understanding, trust, hope. I need antibiotics, Su-min called out. Synthesizers, bone repair gel, and someone find me the largest surgical tools we have. Taeyong and several others rushed to help. Even some of Captain Yoon's soldiers joined in, their earlier suspicion forgotten in the urgency of the moment. Nari stood to the side, recording everything. "This is incredible," she whispered. "This is first contact. Real first contact. And it's happening because of compassion." Outside, the other dragons settled down to wait. They did not leave. They did not threaten. They simply watched through the windows as the humans worked to save one of their own. Hours passed. Su-min worked with steady hands, cleaning wounds and setting bones. Ji-woo helped, following instructions, doing whatever was needed. Hannah never left her mother's side. Finally, as the sun began to set, the mother dragon's breathing steadied. The worst was over. She would live. Hannah made a sound of pure joy. The little dragon nuzzled her mother's face, and the larger dragon responded with a gentle rumble. Through her bond with Hannah, Ji-woo felt waves of gratitude and love. The mother dragon turned her head to look at Ji-woo. Then, slowly, deliberately, she lowered her massive head and touched her nose to Ji-woo's hand. "Thank you," the gesture said. "Thank you for saving my daughter. Thank you for saving me." Ji-woo felt tears running down her face. "You're welcome," she whispered. Outside, the other dragon sang. It was a sound of celebration, of relief, of joy. And in that moment, everything changed. Humans and dragons were no longer strangers. They were no longer potential enemies. They were something new, something better. They were friends. 6 months had passed since that incredible day when everything changed. The research station had been transformed into something new. It was now called the Verdania Interspecies Cooperation Center, and it looked nothing like it used to. The walls had been expanded to create large open spaces where dragons could move freely. New landing platforms had been built on the roof. Translation devices, developed with help from the dragons themselves, lined the communication rooms. And everywhere humans and dragons worked side by side. Ji-woo stood on one of the observation decks, watching the sunset paint the crystal forest in shades of gold and purple. Hannah sat beside her, though the little dragon was not so little anymore. She had grown to the size of a small vehicle, her scales shimmering with health and strength. But even at her larger size, Hannah still pressed close to Ji-woo whenever they were together. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Ji-woo said softly. Hannah made a low, agreeable sound. Through their bond, Ji-woo felt contentment and peace. These feelings had become as familiar as her own heartbeat. Below them, Hannah's mother worked with Su-min and a team of medical researchers. The dragon had made a full recovery from her injuries, and now she helped humans understand dragon biology and medicine. In return, the humans shared their own medical knowledge. It was an exchange that benefited everyone. Taeyong approached from behind, carrying 2 cups of tea. He handed one to Ji-woo and leaned against a railing. "The council just sent their final decision," he said. Ji-woo's heart skipped. "And Verdania is officially designated as a protected world. No mining, no unrestricted colonization. And dragons are legally recognized as a sentient species with full rights under colonial law." Ji-woo felt tears of relief in her eyes. "Really? They actually did it?" "They didn't have much choice," Taeyong grinned. After Nari published her research and the dragons demonstrated their intelligence to the entire council, it was pretty clear. June and Biotech Industries tried to fight it, but they lost. What happened to June? Removed from his position. He's facing charges for attempting to exploit a sentient species. Turns out that's really illegal when the species in question can testify against you. Hannah chirped happily. She understood more human speech now than ever before. The dragons had always been intelligent, but they had never had reason to learn human language until now. Now they were learning fast. "There's more," Taeyong said. "The council wants to establish a formal ambassador program. Humans who bond with dragons, like you and Hannah, would serve as official liaisons between our species." "Bond pairs," Ji-woo said. That was what the dragons called it. When a dragon chose a human and formed that deep, permanent connection. It was rare but not unheard of. Since Hannah had bonded with Ji-woo, 5 other young dragons had bonded with humans at the center. Each pair was unique, but all share that same deep connection. They want you to lead it, Taeyong said. You be the chief ambassador, director of interspecies relations. It's a fancy title. Jiwoo looked at Hannah, who looked back at her with those wise golden eyes. What do you think, girl? Should we do it? Hannah stood up and spread her wings wide. She had been practicing flying more, growing stronger every day. The answer was clear. Yes, absolutely yes. Jiwoo laughed. I guess that's a yes. Over the following weeks, more changes came. Ambassador Lee arrived from Earth to oversee the new relationship between humans and dragons. She was a wise, kind woman who understood the importance of what was happening on Verdania. This is unprecedented, she told Jiwoo during one of their meetings. In all of humanity's expansion into space, we've never found another species like this. Intelligent, willing to communicate, capable of forming genuine friendships with us. Do you understand how special this is? Jiwoo did understand. Every day, she saw it. In the way Hannah's mother taught human doctors about dragon anatomy. In the way young dragons played with human children who visited the center. In the way old dragons shared stories of Verdania's history with human researchers, teaching them about the ancient civilizations that once thrived on this world. The dragons have been the guardians of this planet for thousands of years. They had watched civilizations rise and fall. They had protected the delicate ecosystems, prevented disasters, and preserved knowledge. And now, for the first time, they had found another intelligent species that treated them with respect. Nari had become a permanent resident at the center. Her research was groundbreaking. She discovered that dragons had a form of genetic memory, passing knowledge from generation to generation. They could share images and feelings directly with each other, and through bonding with humans too. It's incredible. Nari explained to a group of visiting scientists. The bond between Jiwoo and Hannah is a two-way telepathic link. They share emotions, simple concepts, even memories, and it gets stronger over time. One of the scientists asked, "But why does bonding happen? What triggers it?" Nari smiled. Love, trust, compassion. When a dragon recognizes these qualities in a human, truly recognizes them, the bond can form. It's the dragon's choice always. They choose who to bond with. And once bonded, another scientist asked, once bonded, it's permanent. A bond pair stays together for life. The dragon will never willingly leave their human side. Jiwoo thought about that often. Hannah had chosen her on that day in the Crystal Forest. A scared, injured hatchling had looked at Jiwoo and decided to trust her. And that trust had changed everything. Captain Yoon had remained on Verdania too, though he had given up his military command. He now led the security forces that protected both humans and dragons from any threats. He had become good friends with several of the older dragons, learning their language and customs. "Never thought I'd retire to become a dragon's bodyguard," he joked one day. But here we are. Dae-hyun had transformed more than anyone. The strict, rule-following commander had become flexible and open-minded. He now ran the center's daily operations, ensuring that both species had what they needed to thrive together. "You know," he told Jiwoo one evening, "I was so angry when I found out about Hannah. I thought you had put everyone in danger. But you were right. Sometimes the rules need to be broken. Sometimes compassion is more important than protocol." Eun-bai had created mixed security teams, pairing human officers with dragons who wanted to help protect the center. They were incredibly effective together, combining human technology with dragon senses and strength. 1 year after Jiwoo found Hannah in the Crystal Forest, the center held a celebration. Humans and dragons gathered together in the main hall. Food was shared. Stories were told. Songs were sung in both languages. Ambassador Lee gave a speech. 1 year ago, a young scientist made a choice. She chose compassion over protocol, love over law. And because of that choice, two species found each other. We found friendship where we might have found conflict. We found cooperation where we might have found competition. This is what humanity is capable of. This is what we can be. Everyone cheered. Hannah, sitting beside Jiwoo, raised her head and sang. Other dragons joined in, their voices creating a harmony that made the walls vibrate. It was beautiful. It was perfect. Later that night, Jiwoo and Hannah returned to their quarters. They were larger now, designed to accommodate a full-grown dragon. Hannah curled up in her sleeping area, but kept her head near Jiwoo's bed, just like she had when she was small. "Do you ever think about that day?" Jiwoo asked quietly. "When I found you in the forest?" Through their bond, Hannah sent a feeling. "Yes, every day. Do you ever regret it? Bonding with me? You could be free, flying with your family, living a normal dragon life." Hannah's response was immediate and strong. "No regret. Never regret. You saved me. You love me. You are my family, too." Jiwoo felt tears on her cheeks. "You saved me, too, you know. I was so lonely before you. I didn't even realize how lonely until you filled that empty space." Hannah moved closer, resting her large head on the edge of Jiwoo's bed. They stayed like that, human and dragon, connected by something deeper than words. Outside, Verdania's 3 moons rose into sky. The crystal forest sang their eternal song. And in cities across human space, people were learning about the dragons of Verdania, about the bond pairs, about what was possible when 2 species chose friendship over fear. It had all started with one small act of kindness. One person who saw a creature in pain and chose to help. One dragon who chose to trust. And from that single moment, an entire new world had been born. Jiwoo closed her eyes, feeling Hannah's steady breathing, feeling the warmth of their bond. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new adventures, new opportunities to build this impossible, beautiful friendship between their species. But tonight, she was simply grateful. Grateful for the day she found a wild dragon hatchling in the forest. Grateful that the hatchling had chosen her. Grateful that Hannah had never left her side. And she never would. The bond was forever.